I get a ton of calls from people curious about buying land and building their dream home. As a real estate agent, I can tell you that there's a lot to learn before diving in. So I've created 2 in-depth videos that I'll post at the end of this video that tell you everything there is to know in much more detail. But for this video, I want to keep it short and sweet and just tell you the essential tips. But remember always to consult other professionals to verify everything that you hear. And let's jump in. Zoning. Before buying land, contact your local county to find out the zoning for the land you're interested in. These zoning areas will let you know whether or not your purchasing is residential, commercial, or agricultural, or somewhere in between. You can also use this website to check zoning areas in Hamilton County if you're in Chattanooga area. The Perc Test. Before buying land, it's crucial to know if a land can handle a septic system, which depends on the percolation test or Perc Test. This test checks how well the soil drains water, specifically sewage, which affects the effectiveness of your septic system. And when you buy land and you don't have access to a septic system that sends it back to the city for processing, you do put it in a septic system, which is a tank that lets it dissolve, lets it get rid of all the bad stuff due to a natural process of enzymes and all that stuff in a septic tank. And then the extra water that's off that goes out into a drain field. This is what your ground has to be tested for. So always ask if a Perc test has been done and get the results before purchasing to avoid unexpected costs. Utilities. Before buying land, check if it has access to essential utilities like water, electricity, gas, sewage, and internet. If not, you'll need to budget for the cost of installing them, which can include digging trenches, installing poles, and wiring. Building restrictions and easements. Before buying land, check for any rules or agreements that could affect what you can or how you use the land. Building restrictions may limit the height, size, or material of your building and are often found in subdivisions, which may also have rules about lot sizes or additional buildings, fences, or animals. Easements give others the right to use your property or your land, like a shared path, which could limit how you use the property. Which brings me to the surveying, the permits, and the cost of it all. But how do I know all this? Well, my family and I are actually doing it right now. We've been through the whole process. Plus, I'm a real estate agent. I help people do this all the time. So if that's something that you're interested in and you're in the Chattanooga area, you want to find a home or you want to buy property, I'm here to help you. That's what I do all the time, 24/7, is help people with their homes. Not only just finding the right home, but also selling their homes as well. So if you want to know everything about Chattanooga and its surrounding area, make sure you subscribe. You will be the first to know about the current real estate market trends in Chattanooga. And by the way, we love hearing from you from calls, texts, and emails. So no matter if your move is early or late, we're always here to make it great. Now, let's get on to surveying. Before buying land, check to see if it has been surveyed. A survey shows the exact boundaries of the property, which is crucial to know what you own. If it hasn't been surveyed, you might need to hire a surveyor to do this. However, sometimes it's hard to get a surveyor in the time you need them. Out here, they're about 30 to 90 day booked. And that's a big deal because if they're booked that far out, you're not going to close in time and know your property's boundaries. So it's very important that if someone is selling their property, they have it surveyed first so that the person can look at the survey and go, okay, this is where my property begins and ends. And oftentimes they'll have little ribbons that they put up so that you know exactly where it begins and where it ends as well. So you know what you're buying and where it stops. So knowing your boundaries helps you understand the rights and the plans for the future project. Before buying land to build on, it's really important that you understand the local rules and permits in that county. Building permits are needed to ensure that your plans meet safety standards and land use regulations. Failing to get the right permits can lead to fines or a stopping of construction altogether. Of course, in different places, these are more strict than others. I'm a Tennessee native. I grew up in Nashville. But I lived in California for about 10 years. And out in California, they want tens of thousands of dollars to do your permitting. They want to check everything. They want to see your site plan. They want to see every single piece before you even dig into the ground. Out here in Tennessee, not so much. And in the most rural counties, they are even less strict. So it's wise to consult where you're at in your county first and look into experts like architects and engineers to navigate these rules and ensure your project complies with all the regulations. Costs. Before buying land, consider the cost to prepare it for building, like clearing trees, grading land, and landscaping. You also need to think about the cost of construction for whatever you plan to build, such as a house or store. These expenses add up, so it's important to include them in your budget. Keep in mind that banks are often reluctant to lend money for undeveloped land because it's considered risky. If someone were to go buy land and they say, well, this isn't my primary home, I'm just going to stop paying on it, that's a big risk the bank has to take. Of course, they would go into a legal battle with these people. However, they don't want to be in a legal battle, so they have a very difficult time sometimes lending money just for land unless you're in contract for building. This means you might have to have a little more cash saved up than just the down payment and closing costs for buying the land outright. So like in any given place, there are pros and cons to deciding whether or not we want to make Chattanooga your new home. However, if you're intrigued with the idea of relocating to Chattanooga and starting a fresh chapter pursuing your dreams, don't hesitate to get in touch with me. I'd be delighted to help you find your ideal place in the scenic city. So give me a call, shoot me an email, or take my move survey in the links above, and we'll be happy to help you make that smooth move. So check out our next video on Chattanooga here, and until next time, we hope to see you around town.